Imagine for a moment a world where old alliances crumble and new ones form in their place. Picture this unlikely scenario. Canada, our friendly neighbor up north, and Mexico, our vibrant neighbor to the south, form an unexpected alliance. Their objective? To invade the United States. A dramatic shift in the geopolitical landscape has occurred. What could possibly have led to this unthinkable scenario? Perhaps it's a desperate response to economic distress, as nations scramble to secure resources in a world of dwindling supplies. Maybe it's a result of political instability, with nations turning against each other in a high-stakes game of power and control. Or it could be a matter of survival, driven by a fierce competition for scarce resources. These are all conjectures, of course, but in this hypothetical world, the chessboard of international relations is dramatically upended. In such a world, how would the military aspects of this unprecedented alliance play out? Let's delve into the details. To understand the battlefield, we must first understand the players. So, let's dive into the military might of our three contenders: Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Firstly, we have Canada, our northern neighbor. While Canada's military is smaller in size, it is not to be underestimated. With a well-trained force of about 68,000 active personnel, they are equipped with advanced technology, including state-of-the-art aircraft and naval vessels. However, their strength lies in their special operations forces, regarded as one of the best in the world, with a reputation for performing exceptionally in challenging terrains. The primary weakness of Canada is its relatively small military size, which may limit its power projection. Moving south, we have Mexico. Mexico's military is primarily focused on internal security rather than international combat. With a force of over 275,000 active personnel, they possess a numerical advantage. However, they lack the advanced technology and training found in their North American counterparts. Their strength lies in their numbers and their knowledge of rugged terrains, making them a formidable force in ground operations. Their major weakness, however, is their limited air and naval capabilities, which could hinder their ability to launch a full-scale invasion. Lastly, we have the United States, a global superpower. The U.S. military is unrivaled in terms of technology, training, and funding. With over 1.3 million active personnel, it has a vast arsenal of advanced weaponry, a powerful air force, and a formidable navy. Its strengths are obvious, but its weaknesses are less so. One possible weakness could be the challenge of defending a vast territory, especially if attacked from multiple fronts. So, there you have it. Three different militaries, each with its unique strengths and weaknesses. Canada's special operations prowess, Mexico's ground force and knowledge of rugged terrains, and the United States' technological superiority and vast resources. Each player brings something different to the table, and the outcome of this hypothetical scenario would depend on how these strengths and weaknesses are leveraged. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of each player, the stage is set for a clash of titans. In war, geography is as crucial as the size of your army. This timeless wisdom has shaped battle strategies since time immemorial. As we consider this unlikely alliance between Canada and Mexico against the USA, geography will undeniably play a pivotal role. For starters, let's consider the vast and diverse landscapes of these three countries. The United States, nestled between Canada and Mexico, is a land of varied terrain, from the rugged Rocky Mountains to the expansive Great Plains. This diverse topography presents both challenges and opportunities for an invading force. On the northern frontier, Canada's geography is its greatest strength and weakness. The expansive wilderness dotted with lakes and rivers could serve as a natural barrier to slow down an advancing army. However, the harsh Canadian winters could also be a double-edged sword, hindering both the invaders and the defenders. Turning our gaze south, Mexico's geography is equally complex. The arid deserts of the north could prove challenging for ground forces, while the dense jungles of the south could provide cover for guerrilla warfare. The long coastline could be used to launch naval and aerial attacks, but it also leaves Mexico vulnerable to counterattacks from the United States Navy. Now let's consider strategic locations. For Canada, cities like Toronto and Vancouver, located near the U.S. border, could serve as launching pads for invasions. Conversely, for the U.S., cities like Seattle and Detroit become crucial defense points. For Mexico, cities like Tijuana and Juarez, located near the U.S. border, become significant both as invasion launch points and defense lines. The geography of the United States itself is a formidable defense. The Rocky Mountains and the Mississippi River could serve as natural barriers, while the vast Central Plains could prove challenging for supply lines. So, with geography playing a crucial role, how would these nations strategize their invasion? This is a question that military strategists would need to carefully consider, drawing on the lessons of history and the realities of the modern world. In the modern battlefield, the specter of nuclear weapons looms large. Let's take a moment to discuss this ominous presence. The use of nuclear weapons is not a decision taken lightly. These weapons of mass destruction have the capacity to annihilate cities and poison landscapes for generations. The fallout, both literal and figurative, is immense. Let's consider the nuclear capabilities of our three nations. The United States, as we know, is a nuclear powerhouse with a substantial arsenal of warheads. It's a capability that's been honed and developed over more than 7 decades since the end of the Second World War. On the other hand, Canada and Mexico, by contrast, do not possess nuclear weapons. Both nations are part of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, pledging not to seek these devastating arms. However, this doesn't mean they're completely defenseless in the face of a nuclear threat. Both countries have invested in missile defense systems and early warning technologies designed to detect and intercept incoming threats. So, where does this leave us? If Canada and Mexico were to invade the United States, they would be doing so without the nuclear trump card. This would be a significant disadvantage, but not necessarily a game changer. After all, nuclear weapons are a deterrent, not typically a first-strike weapon. If used, the global political fallout would be catastrophic. Yet the threat of a nuclear response would hang heavy over any potential conflict. The United States could, theoretically, employ tactical nuclear weapons designed to devastate military targets without causing widespread civilian casualties. But even this would be a drastic step, risking escalation and global condemnation. In this hypothetical scenario, the use of nuclear weapons would be a last resort, a desperate move in a desperate situation. Yet, their presence on the battlefield cannot be ignored. They are the elephant in the room, the specter at the feast, the silent ticking clock counting down to a potential disaster. The nuclear question adds a layer of complexity and danger to this already precarious situation. A well-fed army marches on its stomach, as the saying goes. Indeed, the success of any military operation depends not only on the strength of its soldiers, but equally on the efficiency of its supply chains. For a hypothetical invasion of the United States by Canada and Mexico, the logistics would be a mammoth task. Firstly, Canada and Mexico would have to mobilize vast quantities of food, fuel, ammunition, and other essential supplies. This would require a robust and efficient supply chain capable of operating under the most challenging conditions. Canada, with its advanced economy and infrastructure, could potentially meet this challenge. However, Mexico, with its lesser developed infrastructure, may face difficulties. Overcoming these challenges would require significant investment and planning. Next, the transportation of these supplies to the troops on the front lines would pose another set of challenges. Given the vast distances involved and the likely destruction of infrastructure due to warfare, establishing reliable supply routes would be no small feat. Canada, with its well-developed rail and road networks, would have an advantage here. But Mexico, with fewer options, would need to rely heavily on its road network, which could be susceptible to disruption. Furthermore, both countries would have to ensure the security of these supply routes. This could involve deploying additional troops, which would further strain their resources and logistical capabilities. Another important aspect of logistics is the maintenance and repair of military equipment. Both Canada and Mexico would need to establish extensive maintenance facilities to keep their equipment in fighting condition. This would require a significant investment in both manpower and resources. And let's not forget the human factor. Troops need rest, medical care, and morale-boosting activities. Providing these would be another logistical challenge that both countries would need to address. In conclusion, the logistics of such an invasion would be a formidable task. It would require careful planning, significant resources, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. With all these factors in mind, the logistics of such an invasion become a daunting task. In the face of such an event, one question remains. Imagine for a moment the shockwaves sent through the international community as news of this unthinkable invasion breaks. The world watches, holds its breath, as two neighbors turn adversaries. Alliances and treaties would be put to the ultimate test. NATO, the UN, countries across Europe, Asia, and beyond, all would face a stark choice. Would they stand by the United States, or would they remain neutral, unwilling to risk their own security? The ripple effects of this conflict would reach far beyond North America. Global economies would tremble, political landscapes could shift dramatically, and the balance of power could be forever altered. Countries with vested interests might even consider indirect involvement, supplying resources, intelligence, or diplomatic support. Truly, the entire world would be drawn into this vortex of hypothetical warfare. In this game of hypotheticals, one thing is certain: the world would never be the same again. In the face of such a hypothetical scenario, one possible outcome could be a fracturing of the United States itself. Imagine, if you will, the divisive impact of this conflict on the nation. Unity would be put to the ultimate test. The invasion could see states choosing sides, forming new alliances, or even declaring neutrality. The United States of America might transform into the disunion states of America, a fractured collection of territories, each responding to the crisis in their own way. On the global stage, this disunion could have far-reaching implications. Countries might find themselves dealing not with one unified entity, but several autonomous regions, each with their own agendas. This could lead to a shift in international diplomacy, with alliances being tested and reformed. The once united front of the United States could be replaced with a complex web of regional allegiances, dramatically altering the dynamics of global power. In the realm of hypotheticals, the possibilities are endless. The impact of such an invasion would ripple through every aspect of society, potentially reshaping the United States and the world as we know it. As we venture further down this rabbit hole, we are reminded of the sheer complexity and unpredictability of geopolitics. As we navigate through the treacherous waters of hypothetical scenarios and global geopolitics, we hope you found this exploration as fascinating as we do. If you have enjoyed this journey into the realm of the unthinkable, we invite you to show your support. Please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Your engagement fuels our creativity and helps us bring you more in-depth analysis and captivating scenarios. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section below. Share your thoughts, theories, or even your own hypothetical scenarios. We value your perspective and are eager to hear what you think. Thank you for watching, and remember, in the realm of hypotheticals, the possibilities are endless.